The great hall of Nexus Prime stretched for half a kilometer in every direction. Crystalline walls reflected the light of 1,000 stars, and the air hummed with translation devices working in dozens of languages. Ambassador Kiwan Park stood at the center of the circular platform, his black diplomatic uniform simple compared to the elaborate robes and bioluminescent armor worn by the alien delegates surrounding him. 50 years. That was how long humanity had known about the Galactic Council. 50 years of careful contact, trade, and learning. And now, finally, Earth requested formal membership. Kiwan looked up at the tiered seating where 12 species sat in judgment. The Vaxions occupied the highest tier, their blue-scaled bodies gleaming under the lights. Next to them, the Silicoid Collective's crystalline forms refracted light into rainbow patterns. Lower down sat the Varanthi, massive beings with 6 arms and eyes that glowed like coals. Ambassador Park, the council speaker began, its voice translated into perfect English through his earpiece. Humanity seeks membership in our ancient alliance. Please state your case. Kiwan activated the holographic display. Images of Earth appeared: cities, farmland, orbital stations. For 5 decades, we have traded peacefully with council worlds. We have shared our art, our science, and our friendship. Earth requests to join as an equal partner in galactic civilization. A sound rippled through the chamber. It took Kiwan a moment to recognize it as laughter. The Vaxian Prime delegate stood, his scales shifting to a deeper blue. Equal partner? Tell me, Ambassador, how fast are your ships? Our fastest vessels achieve 0.7 light speed, Kiwan answered, more laughter. The Vaxian's scales flickered with amusement. We achieved twice that speed 3,000 years ago. Your technology is charmingly primitive. Behind Kiwan, junior diplomat Myrehan clenched her fists. She was young, only 28, but she had spent years studying galactic politics. She knew this was going badly. A Silicoid representative spoke next, its voice like wind chimes. We have reviewed your artificial intelligence systems. They are barely self-aware. Our children create more sophisticated programs as educational exercises. Our weapons analysis is equally concerning, added a Varanthi general, leaning forward with interest. You still use kinetic projectiles? Solid matter thrown through space? We abandoned such crude methods millennia ago. Our plasma cannons and energy lances are infinitely more elegant. Kiwan kept his face neutral, though his jaw tightened. Different species develop different solutions. Our technology serves our needs. Barely, someone muttered from the upper tiers. The council speaker raised one appendage for silence. The council has deliberated on humanity's application. We find your species ... interesting, young, energetic, but not ready for full membership. Kiwan felt his stomach drop. Not ready? We offer protectorate status instead, the speaker continued. You will receive council protection and guidance. In exchange, you will allow council oversight of your military development and foreign policy. In perhaps 2 or 3 centuries, once you have matured sufficiently, we can revisit full membership. The words hit like a slap. Protectorate status meant Earth would become a colony in all but name. Kiwan looked at Myre, who stared back with barely contained anger. And if we refuse this generous offer? Kiwan asked carefully. The Varanthi general's eyes brightened. Then you continue alone. A single young species in a galaxy of established powers. Exposed, vulnerable. He smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Accidents happen to unprotected worlds. The threat was clear. Submit or face consequences. Kiwan straightened his shoulders. He thought of Earth of blue oceans and green forests, of billions of people who had survived ice ages and plagues and wars, who had clawed their way to the stars through determination and ingenuity. The people of Earth thanked the Council for their consideration, Kiwan said, his voice steady. But we respectfully decline. We will chart our own course among the stars. Silence fell across the chamber. Then the Vaxian delegate laughed again, louder this time. Your own course? You cannot even properly shield your ships against radiation. How long do you think you will survive out here? Other delegates joined the laughter. The silicoids chimed in crystalline amusement. Even the usually stoic council speaker seemed to ripple with mirth. "I give them 50 years before they beg for protectorate status," one delegate announced. 30, another countered. "Some ambitious species will absorb their colonies first." The Varanthi general said nothing, but his smile widened. Kiwan bowed formally and turned to leave. Myray followed, her heels clicking on the crystal floor. Behind them, the laughter continued. Echoing off the walls, Dot and the transport shuttle back to their ship, Myray finally spoke. "They're going to attack us." "I know," Kiwan said quietly. "The Varanthi especially. Did you see how the general looked at the star maps when Earth's colonies were displayed?" Kiwan nodded. He had seen. The hunger in those burning eyes. "The calculations. What do we do?" Myra asked. "We prepare," Kiwan said. "And we hope Admiral Troy's instincts were correct." Myra frowned. "What instincts?" "Before we left Earth, the Admiral told me something. He said that in his 30 years studying galactic military records, he noticed something interesting. The Council species haven't fought a real war in over 500 years. Their conflicts are border skirmishes, patrols against pirates. Nothing serious, so? So they've forgotten what real war looks like? They think power comes from elegant energy weapons and fast ships. They've forgotten the brutal mathematics of violence." Myray looked out the shuttle window at the vast station receding behind them. "You think we can actually fight them?" "I think," Kiwan said slowly, "that they are about to learn a very old human truth. The most dangerous enemy is not the one with the fanciest weapons. It is the one willing to do whatever it takes to survive." The shuttle docked with the human diplomatic vessel, Harmony. As they transferred aboard, a priority message arrived from Earth Intelligence. Myray read it, her face going pale. "Ambassador, we have intercepted Varanthi military communications. They are mobilizing a fleet. Target, New Sol colony." Kiwan closed his eyes. New Sol, 3 million human colonists. Farms and factories and schools. Children playing under an alien sun. How long? He asked. 2 weeks. Maybe less. Kiwan pulled up the communication panel. "Get me Admiral Choi, immediate priority." As he waited for the connection, he looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Varanthi were loading weapons and plotting courses. They thought they would crush a weak colony and teach humanity a lesson about galactic power. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The galaxy had mocked humanity as primitives playing at civilization. Soon, they would learn their mistake. Humanity had not reached the stars by being weak. They had climbed up from Earth's gravity well through blood and fire and determination, and they had not forgotten how to fight. The communication panel chimed. Admiral Troy's weathered face appeared on screen. "Ambassador," he said. "I heard." "New Sol?" "Yes, Admiral." 2 weeks. The Admiral nodded slowly. "Then we proceed with Contingency 7. Are you certain?" Kiwan asked. "Once we reveal they started this," the Admiral interrupted, "we will finish it. Tell New Sol to prepare, and tell Colonel Lim that her time has come." The connection ended. Kiwan stood in silence, listening to the hum of the ship's engines. The Varanthi thought they were hunting prey. They were about to discover they had cornered a predator instead. The Varanthi war fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the New Sol system. 30 warships, their hulls adorned with conquest markings from a dozen campaigns. General Vakros stood on the command deck of the flagship Eternal Flame, his 6 arms crossed in satisfaction. "Scan for human defenses," he ordered. His tactical officer worked the controls. "I detect 12 orbital defense platforms and 3 patrol vessels, all using primitive kinetic weapons. No energy shields detected on any installation." Vakros's eyes glowed brighter. This would be easier than he thought. "Open a channel to the colony." On the view screen, a human woman appeared. She wore military uniform with colonel insignia. Her face was calm, almost bored. "I am Colonel Hannah Lim, Commander of New Sol Defense Force. You are entering human territory without authorization." Vakros laughed, the sound rumbling through his massive chest. I am General Vakros of the Varanthi Empire. Your territory now belongs to us? Surrender immediately and we will be merciful. Resist and we will demonstrate why the galaxy fears our name. Hannah's expression did not change. No, no. Vakros leaned forward. You have 12 platforms and 3 ships. We have 30 warships with plasma batteries and energy lances. Your technology is centuries behind ours. You cannot win? No, Hannah repeated. You misunderstand. I was not asking whether we can win. I was simply saying no to your surrender demand. Vakros felt his temper rising. Then you have chosen death. All ships advance. Destroy the platforms first, then target the colony settlements. The Varanthi fleet moved forward in perfect formation. Their shields shimmered with power. This was how civilized species fought: organized, honorable, overwhelming. The human platforms opened fire first. Vakros watched the projectiles crawling across his tactical display. Solid metal slugs moving at merely half the speed of light. Primitive garbage. Then the first slug hit a Varanthi cruiser. The shield flared and died. The slug punched through the hull, through 3 internal decks, and out the other side. Atmosphere vented into space. The cruiser spun out of formation, trailing debris. Vakros stared. How did it penetrate our shields? The projectile mass is enormous, his tactical officer reported, voice shaking. Each slug weighs over 2 tons. Our shields are designed for energy weapons and small mass projectiles. These are... He paused. Sir, they are putting more kinetic energy into a single shot than our main plasma batteries deliver in 10 seconds of sustained fire. Another slug hit another ship, then another. The humans were firing from all 12 platforms simultaneously, and their accuracy was perfect. Evasive maneuvers, Vakros shouted. Return fire. The Varanthi ships scattered, their elegant formation breaking. Plasma bolts lanced out toward the platforms. But the platforms were heavily armored, and plasma weapons designed to overwhelm shields were less effective against solid metal. 3 human patrol ships suddenly accelerated toward the Varanthi fleet. One of them was badly damaged, atmosphere leaking from multiple hits. Captain Jinho Quan to all ships, a voice broadcast on open channels. Target acquired. Beginning attack run. Vakros watched in confusion as the damaged human ship, a destroyer called Indomitable, accelerated harder. Directly at his flagship. He is fleeing, Vakros said. Destroy him. But the ship did not flee. It accelerated faster, straight toward the eternal flame. Plasma fire tore into its hull. One engine exploded. Still it came? Sir, the tactical officer's voice was urgent now. That ship's velocity is 0.8 light speed and increasing. If it hits us, understanding came too late. Vakros watched in horror as the human destroyer, its hull glowing from atmospheric friction and energy weapon impacts, smashed into a Varanthi battlecruiser. The explosion was visible from the planet's surface. A brief, terrible star that consumed both ships and damaged 3 others nearby with the shockwave and debris. They are insane. Vakros roared. They deliberately rammed us. Receiving communication from the surface, an officer reported. The humans are broadcasting it on all frequencies. Colonel Hannah's face appeared again. Behind her, Vakros could see military officers working at stations. You came expecting honor combat. Energy weapons against energy shields. Formations and tactics from your military academies. You thought this would be easy. Explosions bloomed across 2 more Varanthi ships as the remaining human platforms continued their brutal bombardment. We learned warfare differently, Hannah continued. We fought each other for thousands of years. We learned that honor is for memorials. Victory is for the living. Pull back to maximum weapons range. Vakros ordered, bombard the platforms from distance. The Varanthi fleet retreated, reorganizing. They began systematic long-range bombardment of the orbital platforms. One by one, the platforms died. But they took 3 more Varanthi ships with them before the last one fell silent. Vakros allowed himself to breathe. Land-ground forces, take the main colony center. Show these primitives what happens when they defy us. The troop carriers descended through New Sol's atmosphere. The main settlement of New Bizan lay below tall buildings, agricultural zones, industrial sectors. 3 million humans lived here. The landing went smoothly. Too smoothly. Vakros felt uneasy as his soldiers secured the landing zones with no resistance. Then the ambush began. The humans did not fight in formations. They did not meet the Varanthi in honorable battle. They struck from buildings, from underground tunnels, from sewer systems. They used explosives. They used sniper weapons. They targeted officers first, supply lines second. Within 4 hours, the Varanthi ground force was pinned down. Colonel Hanna's forces seemed to be everywhere and nowhere. Every street was a potential kill zone. Every building could hide attackers. This is not how warfare is conducted. Vakros raged. They hide like cowards. They strike without warning. A younger officer, bloodied from a close explosion, looked at his general. Sir, with respect, I think they do not care how warfare should be conducted. They care only about winning. In orbit, the remaining Varanthi ships maintained position. They had lost 9 vessels. 9. Against a supposedly primitive colony. Then the real surprise came. Dr. Sora Yang's laboratory, buried 3 kilometers beneath New Bizan's surface, had been working throughout the battle. Now her project activated, the Varanthi ships detected massive power signatures from the planet's surface. 8 locations. Underground installations the scans had missed. Launching now, Sora said calmly, watching her screens. What emerged from hidden silos were not missiles. They were solid tungsten rods, 5 meters long and half a meter wide. Magnetic accelerators launched them upward at incredible speeds. God rods, the humans called them. Simple physics. Solid metal moving very, very fast. The rods punched through 3 Varanthi ships before the fleet could react. Unlike the platform guns, these could be aimed and fired rapidly. And there were hundreds of them. Vakros made the hardest decision of his military career. All forces, retreat. Immediate withdrawal. The Varanthi fleet ran. They left their ground forces behind. They fled to faster-than-light speeds and vanished. Colonel Hanna stood on the rubble of what had been a school. Smoke rose from a dozen districts. Bodies lay in the streets, both human and Varanthi. They had won, but the cost was terrible. Captain Jinho was dead. His sacrifice had turned the tide. 2,000 civilians were dead. 5,000 more injured. The colony would need years to rebuild, but they had held. A communication came from the captured Varanthi ground forces. They requested surrender terms. Hanna thought of Jinho, of all the dead. She thought of the Varanthi general who had thought this would be easy. Tell them they will be treated according to human military law. They will be fed, housed, and eventually returned to their people. But first, they will help rebuild what they destroyed. Later, she recorded a message to be sent to Earth and to the Galactic Council. This is Colonel Hanna Lim. New Sol Defense Force, the Varanthi Empire attacked us without provocation. They expected easy conquest. They found determined resistance. Let this be a message to all who think humanity is weak. We did not come to the stars to submit. We came to thrive. And we will defend what is ours with every weapon, every tactic, and every life necessary. This is our space now. We suggest the galaxy get used to that fact. The message spread through galactic communication networks. The Varanthi had lost 9 warships and an entire ground force to a single human colony. The galaxy began to reconsider its assumptions about the weak, primitive humans. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened 3 days after New Sol. Every delegate had seen the footage. The burning Varanthi ships. The devastating human weapons. The ruthless tactics. General Vakros stood before them, his pride shattered along with his fleet. They fight without honor, without mercy. They are dangerous to the entire galactic order. The Vaxian Prime delegate nodded gravely. We underestimated them. This cannot stand. Humanity has proven themselves to be hostile and unpredictable. They defended their own colony against invasion, pointed out a delegate from the Pelthian Commonwealth. That is not hostility. That is survival. They destroyed 9 warships. Vakros roared. They used ramming attacks? Orbital bombardment weapons. These are not the actions of a civilized species. The council speaker called for order. The question before us is clear. Humanity represents a threat to galactic stability. We must act. A vote was called. 8 species voted to issue an ultimatum. 3 abstained. 1 voted against. Ambassador Kiwan Park received the message while aboard the Harmony, still 2 weeks from Earth. Myray stood beside him as they read the council's decision. Humanity will accept protectorate. Status within 30 days, Kiwan read aloud. All military forces will be placed under council oversight. All colony worlds will accept council administration. Failure to comply will result in combined fleet action against Earth itself. Murray's hands shook. Combined fleet. How many ships? Intelligence estimates 800, Commander Yinji Shin said. Appearing on their view screen from Earth, she was the head of Human Intelligence Services, and her sources were excellent. Every major council species is contributing. The Vaxians alone are sending 200 vessels. Kiwan sat heavily. We hurt them at New Sol. Now they want to crush us before we become a real threat. What will Earth say? Myray asked. Earth will refuse, Yunji said with certainty. The President has already made the decision. We will not submit. Then we fight 800 ships with what? 50? Kiwan's voice was hollow. Yung smiled slightly. Actually, Ambassador, we have been keeping secrets. From everyone. Including you. The view screen changed. It showed the outer solar system beyond Neptune, the Kuiper Belt, and there, hidden among the ice and rock, were ships. Hundreds of them. Project Thunderstrike, Yunji explained. We have been building warships for 20 years. Ever since we first made contact with the Council, Admiral Troy insisted. He said we needed insurance. Kiwan stared. Those ships how many? 250 combat vessels. Plus support craft. We hid the construction in the outer system. Disguised the energy signatures as mining operations. The Council never suspected. Myray leaned closer to the screen. Those designs. They look different from our standard ships. Because they are purpose-built warships, Yunji said. Not converted civilian vessels. Not defense platforms. Real military spacecraft designed by people who studied every galactic battle record we could find. On the screen, one ship rotated slowly. It was angular, brutal, covered in armor. Weapons bristled from every surface. Meet the Defiant Dawn, Yunji continued. Admiral Troy's flagship. Nuclear pulse drive for acceleration. Magnetic rail cannons that can fire 100-ton slugs at 0.9 light speed. Missile batteries with thousands of nuclear-tipped warheads. An armor-solid metal armor, not energy shields. No shields? Kiwan asked. Energy shields are expensive and require massive power. We chose different protection. 12 meters of composite armor. Redundant systems. Damage control teams. Old-fashioned durability. A new face appeared on screen. Admiral Yongsu Choi himself. He was 60 years old, gray-haired, with tired eyes that missed nothing. Ambassador Park, he said quietly. I know this is a shock. But we knew this day might come. The Council views the galaxy as their domain. They were never going to accept us as equals. Can we actually win? Kiwan asked. 800 against 250? Numbers are not everything, the Admiral said. The Council species fight a certain way. Energy weapons. Energy shields. Long-range bombardment? They have perfected this style over centuries. But they have not fought anyone who fights differently. Engineer Dae-Yun Lee appeared in a smaller window. He was young, barely 30, but his eyes gleamed with fierce intelligence. We studied their weaknesses. Their shields are designed to stop plasma and energy weapons. High power, but low mass. Our kinetic weapons have enormous mass. Their shields cannot efficiently stop them. Their ships are fast and maneuverable, Yunji added. But lightly built? They depend on shields for protection. Our ships are slower but heavily armored. We can take hits they cannot? Their tactics are static, Admiral Choi said. They use formal battle formations, predictable maneuvers. We will use mobility, ambush, and concentration of force. Kiwan felt hope-stirring. What do you need from me? Get back to Earth, the Admiral said. You will send the formal rejection to the Council. Make it clear. Humanity will not submit. Then, when they come, we will show them what a real fight looks like. The Harmony arrived at Earth 10 days later. Kiwan delivered the rejection personally via Galactic Communication Network. The people of Earth have received the Council's ultimatum, he said, looking directly into the camera. Our answer is no. We will not surrender our sovereignty. We will not place our colonies under foreign control. We will not abandon our right to defend ourselves. If the Council wishes war, they will have it. But they should understand we did not come to the stars to kneel. We came to stand. The response was swift. 800 ships began moving toward Seoul. On Earth, evacuation efforts intensified. Civilian transports fled to the outer colonies. Those who could not leave moved to underground shelters. Earth had built extensive bunkers during the nuclear age. Now they would serve again. Admiral Choi stood on the bridge of the Defiant Dawn, watching his fleet assemble. 250 warships, each one a testament to human engineering and determination. The crews were ready. They had trained for this. Admiral, Captain Jinho's younger brother, Lieutenant Minho Kwan, reported. He had requested transfer to the fleet after his brother's death. All ships report ready. How long until they arrive? The Admiral asked. 14 hours. The Admiral nodded. 14 hours until the largest space battle in galactic history. He thought about the Council species. Their pride. Their certainty. Their belief that technology and numbers would guarantee victory. They had forgotten something crucial. War was not about having the best technology. It was about will, about sacrifice, about the determination to do whatever was necessary. Earth had that determination. Humanity had clawed its way up from caves and learned to split atoms. They had survived ice ages and plagues and wars that killed millions. They had conquered their own world before reaching for the stars. The Council was about to learn what that meant. All ships, the Admiral broadcast. This is Admiral Choi. In 14 hours, the Council fleet will arrive. They outnumber us 3-1. They have better shields, faster ships, and centuries of confidence. But they have one critical weakness. They have forgotten what real war costs. We have not. Every human in this fleet knows someone who died at New Seoul. We fight for them. For our families. For our future. The Council thinks this will be easy. We will teach them otherwise. All ships to battle positions. And remember, we are not here to be impressive. We are here to win. Across the fleet, thousands of crew members prepared for battle. They checked weapons systems. They reviewed damage control procedures. They wrote letters to loved ones just in case, on Earth. Billions watched the sky and waited. Mire stood in the Defense Command Center, deep beneath Geneva. She watched the tactical displays showing the human fleet deploying in the outer system. Do you think we can win? Asked a young technician beside her. Mire thought of New Seoul, of Colonel Hanna standing in the rubble, of Captain Jinho ramming his ship into the enemy, of all the humans who had refused to submit. I think, she said slowly, that the Council is about to discover why humanity survived every challenge our planet threw at us. We do not survive by being the strongest or the fastest. We survive by being the most stubborn. And today, we will show them exactly how stubborn we can be. The Council fleet entered the Sol system 12 hours later. 800 warships in perfect formation. They expected to find 50 defenders and an easy victory. Instead, they found 250 warships waiting among the asteroids, and the bloodiest battle in galactic history was about to begin. The Council fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system in perfect formation. 800 warships arranged in 3 waves. The first wave consisted of heavy cruisers with maximum shields. The second wave held the main battle fleet. The third wave carried support vessels and troop transports. The Vaxian fleet commander, Admiral Vex, studied his tactical display with satisfaction. Scanned for human forces. "I detect 247 vessels," his tactical officer reported. "They are positioned near the asteroid belt, approximately 4 astronomical units from Earth." Vex's scales shifted to a pleased blue. "Only 250 ships. Even less than predicted. They must have scraped together every vessel they possess." Beside him, General Vacros growled. "Do not underestimate them. Remember New Sol." "New Sol was 1 colony against 30 ships," Vex countered. "We have 800 warships. The finest vessels in the galaxy. This will not be like New Sol." The fleet advanced in formation. It was beautiful, really hundreds of ships moving as one, their shields creating a shimmering wall of energy. This was how advanced civilizations conducted warfare, organized, overwhelming, inevitable. The human fleet did not advance to meet them. Instead, it began moving deeper into the asteroid belt toward the outer system. "They flee," a silicoid observer announced. "Humanity runs." Vex felt triumph surge through him. "All ships pursue, maintain formation. Do not let them escape to the outer colonies." The Council fleet accelerated, chasing the humans into the asteroid field. Navigation became more difficult as massive rocks drifted between the ships, but the fleet was disciplined. They maintained their formations. That was when Admiral Young-Soo Choi sprang his trap. "All ships," he broadcast from the defiant dawn. "Execute Plan Anvil, fire on my mark." The human fleet suddenly pivoted. In seconds, they changed from fleeing prey to attacking predators. And they were not alone. Hidden among the asteroids were weapons platforms. Dozens of them, disguised as rock and ice. They had been placed months ago, waiting for this moment. "Now," Admiral Choi commanded. The platforms fired first. Not energy weapons, not plasma. Solid tungsten rods accelerated by magnetic rails to terrifying speeds. Each rod was 5 meters long and massed 2 tons. Each one moved at 0.95 light speed. They hit the Council fleet like the fist of an angry god. Shields flared and died. The energy barriers designed to stop plasma and lasers could not efficiently stop solid mass moving at relativistic speeds. The rods punched through shields, through hulls, through entire ships. In the first 30 seconds, 25 Council ships died. "Evasive maneuvers," Vex screamed. The formation broke. 800 ships scattered, trying to avoid the platforms, and the human fleet now burning toward them at full acceleration. Lieutenant Minho Kwan commanded the destroyer Retribution. His brother had died at New Sol. Now it was time to make the enemy pay. "All weapons, target the cruiser at Mark 47, he ordered calmly. "Fire!" The Retribution's main railgun fired. A 100-ton slug of solid metal erupted from the magnetic accelerator. It crossed the distance in 2 seconds and hit a Varanthi cruiser amidships. The cruiser's shield collapsed. The slug tore through the hull and out the other side, leaving a tunnel of destruction. "Target destroyed," his weapons officer reported, reloading. "Next target, keep firing." Across the battlefield, human ships used tactics the Council had never encountered. They did not joust at long range. They closed fast, fired devastating. Kinetic weapons at point-blank range, then broke away before the slower Council ships could track them. Lieutenant Neri Bay led Fighter Squadron 7. Her 20 fighters carried no energy weapons at all. Instead, each carried 6 Hail Mary missiles. "All fighters, target those battleships," she ordered. "Standard pattern Delta." Her squadron dove toward 3 massive silicoid battleships. The battleships' point defense systems activated, filling space with energy bolts. 2 fighters died in balls of fire, but the rest launched their missiles. The Hail Mary was humanity's gift to space warfare. A nuclear warhead surrounded by lasers. When it detonated, the nuclear explosion pumped energy into the lasers for a few microseconds before everything vaporized. In that brief moment, it created X-ray laser beams of incredible intensity. 18 missiles detonated simultaneously. 54 X-ray laser beams lanced through space. The silicoid battleship's shields overloaded. Sections of their crystalline hulls shattered. One battleship broke apart. The other two went dark, their power systems destroyed. Splashed 3 battleships. Nari reported, pulling her fighter through a hard turn. Reforming for next attack run. But the Council was not helpless. 800 ships, even in disorder, represented enormous firepower. Plasma bolts and energy lances filled space. Human ships died too. The destroyer Triumph took 3 direct hits. Its armor held, but the 4th shot punched through. Atmosphere vented. The ship spun out of control before emergency systems stabilized it. A human cruiser exploded when a lucky shot hit its magazine. 50 crew died instantly. Admiral Choi watched the tactical display. The Council fleet was in chaos, but they were adapting. They were pulling back to maximum range where their energy weapons had the advantage. They are learning, his tactical officer said. Then we teach them another lesson, the Admiral replied. Activate Daeyeon's surprise? Deep in the asteroid belt, massive rocks began to move, not naturally. They were not rocks at all, but carefully positioned mass drivers. Humanity's engineers had spent years building them, disguising them as asteroids. Now they activated. Each mass driver began throwing projectiles, not precision weapons like the tungsten rods. These were simple rocks, ranging from 1 ton to 10 tons, accelerated to high velocity. Thousands of them. It was the oldest weapon in human history, throwing rocks. But these rocks moved fast enough to destroy starships. The Council fleet found itself in a storm of debris. Shields collapsed under the bombardment. Ships that dodged 1 rock were hit by 3 more. The carefully organized formations dissolved into chaos. This is madness, Dex shouted. They have turned the entire asteroid belt into a weapon. General Vakros, watching his second defeat at human hands, felt a terrible understanding. They do not fight like us. They do not care about honor or elegance. They care only about winning. An hour into the battle, the Council fleet had lost 300 ships. 300. Against the supposedly primitive humans, Dex made the decision. All ships retreat. Fall back beyond the asteroid belt. Regroup. The fleet tried to withdraw, but the human ships pursued, hunting the damaged vessels, finishing off the crippled ones. It was brutal and merciless. Finally, the surviving Council ships reached safety beyond the asteroid belt. They counted their losses and stared in horror at the numbers. 300 ships destroyed, 200 more damaged. Against only 70 lost human vessels. Admiral Choi broadcast on all frequencies. His voice was calm, almost gentle. You came to our home. You demanded we submit. You threatened our families, our children, our future. Did you truly think we would simply surrender? Did you think we reached the stars by being weak? He paused, letting the silence stretch. We are human. We climbed up from Earth's gravity well through blood and determination. We split the atom and touched the stars. We have fought each other for 5,000 years and learned every brutal lesson warfare can teach. You forgot those lessons during your centuries of peace. You thought technology made you superior? You were wrong. Another pause. You have lost 300 ships. We can see your formations reforming. You still outnumber us. If you wish to continue, we will fight until the last human ship is destroyed, and we will take all of you with us. Or you can leave our system, now, while you still can. On his flagship, Admiral Elvex looked at the tactical display. 500 ships remaining. Against 180 humans. The numbers still favored the Council, but the numbers at New Sol had favored the Varanthi too. Signal all ships, Dex said, his voice hollow. We are withdrawing from Sol System. Maximum speed. The Council fleet turned and ran. They jumped to faster than light speed as quickly as their drives could charge. Behind them, the human fleet held position among the asteroids. They had one. Admiral Choi sat in his command chair, suddenly exhausted. 70 ships lost, thousands of crew dead. But Earth was safe. Murray's voice came over the communication channel from Earth. Admiral, the Council fleet is fleeing. The planet is secure. Confirmed, the Admiral said quietly. Send recovery teams for our damaged ships, and prepare messages to the families of the fallen. Outside his window, Earth hung in space blue and green and beautiful. Billions of people safe because of what had happened here. Today, the galaxy had mocked humanity as primitives. They would never make that mistake again. The news spread across the galaxy in hours. The combined Council fleet, 800 of the finest warships in known space, had been defeated. 300 ships destroyed. 300 more fleeing in disorder. Defeated by a species the Council had dismissed as primitive just months before, Ambassador Kiwan Park stood once again in the Great Hall of Nexus Prime. But this time, he did not stand alone at the center platform. Admiral Yongsu Choi stood beside him, wearing full military uniform. Behind them, Mai Han carried the new human diplomatic credentials, and surrounding them were 6 human warships, hanging in space visible through the crystal walls. A polite escort. A quiet reminder the Council chamber was different now. 3 species seats sat empty. The Varanthi Empire had collapsed within days of the battle. Their subject species, seeing the mighty Varanthi defeated twice by humans, had rebelled. The Empire was fragmenting into civil war. The Silicoid Collective had withdrawn from galactic affairs entirely, retreating to their home systems to reconsider everything they thought they knew about power. The Vaxian delegation sat in their seats, but their scales were dull gray. The color of shame. The Council speaker rose. Its voice was different now, respectful, almost fearful. Ambassador Park, Admiral Choi, humanity has requested an emergency session. The Council recognizes Earth. Kiwan stepped forward. He carried no data tablets today. No presentations. He did not need them. 3 months ago, I stood here and requested membership. I was told humanity was too primitive, too young, too weak. You offered us protectorate status servitude dressed in diplomatic language. We refused. He paused, looking at each delegation in turn. You responded by attempting to invade our colony. New Sol held. You lost 30 ships. Then you sent 800 warships to Earth itself. You lost 300 more. Silence filled the chamber. A Vaxian delegate shifted uncomfortably. I returned today not to request membership, Kiwan continued, but to offer terms for a new galactic order. One where humanity is recognized as an equal power, where our territory is respected, where our ships travel freely. And if we refuse? The question came from a small mammalian species. The Brent High. Admiral Choi spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet, but it carried through the chamber. Then we continue the war. We will build more ships. We will defend our space. We will expand into unclaimed systems. And any species that threatens us will learn the same lesson the Varanthi learned. You would fight the entire galaxy? A Pelthian delegate asked. If necessary, the Admiral said simply. But I do not think it will be necessary. Because you now understand what we are. Dangerous, muttered someone from the upper tiers. Survivors, the Admiral corrected. We did not reach the stars by being the strongest or the fastest. We reached them by refusing to quit, by adapting, by doing whatever was necessary. These traits do not change. Murray stepped forward, placing a data tablet on the speaker's podium. These are our terms. First, immediate recognition of all human colony worlds and territorial claims. Second, full voting membership in the Council. Third, mutual defense pacts with any species who wish to ally with us. Fourth, reparations from the Varanthi Empire for the New Sol attack. The Varanthi Empire no longer exists, the Council speaker noted. Then their successor states will pay, Murray said flatly. New Sol had 3 million people. 2,000 died. Their families deserve compensation? A long silence followed. Then the Pelthian delegate stood. The Pelthian Commonwealth votes to accept these terms. We also request a formal alliance with Earth. Your warriors fight with determination. Your engineers create wonders. We would be honored to call you friends. One by one, other species stood. The Brenthi, the Corthini, the Methusans. 7 species in total formally allied with humanity. The Vaxian Prime Delegate stood last. His scales had darkened further. The Vaxian Concordat accepts Earth's terms. We also offer formal apology. We underestimated humanity. We allowed pride to blind us to truth. We sought to dominate when we should have sought partnership. Kiwan nodded slowly. Apology accepted? We do not desire enemies. We desire respect. You have it, the Vaxian said quietly. Every species here has it. The question is what humanity does with it. Later, in the human diplomatic quarters, Kiwan, the admiral, and Myre reviewed the day's results. Earth had gone from rejected applicants to major power in 3 months. It was almost surreal. The intelligence reports are interesting, Myre said, scrolling through her tablet. 6 minor species have requested technology exchanges. 3 want military advisors to train their defense forces. 2 want to establish embassies on Earth. And the remaining council members? The admiral asked. Watching, waiting. They are not hostile, but they are cautious. They want to understand us better before committing. Good, the admiral said. Caution means respect. Respect means they will not attack. That is all we need. Kiwan walked to the window, looking out at the stars. Did you ever imagine it would go this way? The admiral joined him. I hoped it would not be necessary, but I prepared for it. That is the difference between us and them. They planned for peace. We planned for war while hoping for peace. What happens now? Myre asked. Now we build, the admiral said. We have proven we can fight. Now we prove we can create. We establish trade. We share our art, our culture, our science, the parts that will not compromise our security. We show the galaxy that humans are not just warriors. But we keep building warships, Kiwan said. Always, the admiral agreed. Peace is maintained by those who can wage war but choose not to. We will never again be in a position where others think they can simply take what is ours. 6 months later, Dr. Sora Yang made an announcement that shocked the galaxy again. She stood in a laboratory on Earth, broadcasting to news services across known space. For the past decade, human scientists have been working on controllable wormhole technology. Today, we have succeeded. Behind her, a small portal shimmered into existence. It connected the Earth laboratory to a facility on Mars 30 million kilometers away. Current galactic faster-than-light travel requires days to cross solar systems, Sora continued. Wormholes are instantaneous. We are prepared to share this technology with allied species. For a reasonable fee, of course. The economic implications were staggering. Instant travel would revolutionize trade, communication, and military response. And Earth controlled it. The Vaxian ambassador to Earth requested an emergency meeting with Kiwan. Is this your revenge? The Vaxian asked, its scales shifting nervously. You will control all galactic commerce? Kiwan smiled. No, this is how we build the future. Technology should benefit everyone. We will share the wormhole network with all council members. But those who attacked us pay higher fees. Fair, we think. And those who allied with you? Pay standard rates. Friends help each other. The Vaxian scales shifted to a thoughtful blue. You are clever. You have turned military victory into economic dominance. We prefer the word partnership, Kiwan said. The galaxy is large enough for everyone, but it will be organized on terms that respect humanity. Not ignore it. 1 year after the Battle of Seoul, Admiral Choi attended the memorial service at New Seoul. 3,000 names were carved into the black granite wall. 2,000 civilians who died in the Varanthi attack. 1,000 soldiers who died defending them. Captain Jun Ho Kwan's name was there, along with the crew of the Indomitable. Colonel Hannah Lim, now promoted to general, stood beside him. Was it worth it? She asked quietly. The admiral looked at the memorial. then at the city beyond. New Seoul had been rebuilt, taller, stronger, children played in parks. Markets bustled with activity. Human and alien traders worked together. Yes, he said. We paid in blood, but we bought something precious. The right to exist on our own terms. The respect of the galaxy. Safety for our children. That is worth any price. The new colony ships launch next month, Hana said. 15,000 people going to establish settlements in the outer reach. I know. And they will be safe. Because now everyone knows what happens when someone threatens humanity. In orbit above Earth, the fleet had grown to 400 ships. But they were not deployed for war. They were exploring, surveying, protecting trade routes. Being visible, Mireille, now promoted to senior diplomatic advisor, sat in her office reviewing the latest reports. 22 species now had formal relations with Earth. 8 were military allies. Economic growth was exceeding all projections. She thought back to that day in the council chamber when they had been laughed at. When the galaxy had dismissed humanity as primitive and weak. How quickly things changed, her communicator chimed. Senior advisor, we have received first contact from a new species. The Torvani. They have just achieved faster-than-light travel. They are requesting information about joining the galactic community. Mireille pulled up the communication. The Torvani representative appeared on screen, a reptilian being with large eyes, looking nervous and excited. Greetings, the Torvani said. We have heard stories about your species, about how you fight, how you defend your own, how you went from unknown to powerful in mere months. We wish to learn from you. Mireille smiled. Welcome to the galaxy. We have much to teach, and much to learn from you as well. The first lesson is this: respect is earned, not given.